Jason Todd, the second Robin, returns from the grave as the dark anti-hero Red Hood, confronting his successor as Robin, Tim Drake, over who is worthy to wear the mantle in this week's episode of Comic History. What's up guys, Roman from R&S Entertainment here, and welcome to Comic History, the weekly video series where I retell and explain comic storylines, origins, and events in an entertaining way. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Red Hood vs. Robin, an isolated storyline within the 2003 Geoff Johns Teen Titans series, which is a really solid contemporary Teen Titans book that brought together core former Young Justice characters Superboy, Tim Drake Robin, Impulse, and Cassie Sandsmark Wonder Girl together with new Teen Titans mainstays Starfire, Raven, Beast Boy, and Cyborg to become a Teen Titans for a modern world. If you want to know more about the two teams that were combined to form Geoff Johns' Teen Titans team, make sure to check out my Origin of Young Justice and Origin of the Teen Titans videos. At this point in DC's history, several major events and crises were in the midst of happening, causing widespread changes in continuity, including returning a number of characters back to life, and changes to DC as a whole, with Identity Crisis having revealed dark secrets of the Justice League that served to darken the tone of DC's books overall. Under the Red Hood was in the midst of being released, meaning that Jason Todd had returned from the dead as well, going through a destructive rampage through Gotham City and setting himself up as a crime boss to turn crime on itself, determined to succeed in controlling it where Batman had failed. The Teen Titans are also reeling from losses and betrayals of their own, with Identity Crisis and Dr. Light having revealed that the younger heroes' mentors were less perfect and honest than they portrayed themselves to be, causing schisms between the former sidekicks and the heroes who had created them. Superboy had removed himself from the team after being manipulated by Lex Luthor to attack his friends and almost kill Wonder Girl. And Cyborg, Starfire, Donna Troy, and several of the older Titans are preparing to leave for space, leaving Beast Boy in charge of the team. Our story begins in the midst of this turmoil, with Red Hood having snuck into Titan's tower without setting off the DNA scanner alarm, as Jason Todd was briefly a member of the Teen Titans late into the classic 80s New Teen Titans run, having been brought in to form a new team when all of the main Titans had been sidelined or left the team completely, with Donna Troy saying that without Nightwing around, the Titans needed a Robin. Jason would also return as a temporary member of the team for later missions, including saving Raven and Nightwing from being brainwashed into fighting against them. Jason was much younger than the other Teen Titans members at the time, but proved himself useful and gained the respect of the Titans. Following Cyborg and Beast Boy while they discuss the leadership changes, Red Hood reflects on how he did never interact with them much, and so it didn't bother him much knocking them out with electrified paralysis darts. Moving to Raven's bedroom, he remembered always feeling sorry for Raven and having respect for her, even if she lectured him about giving in to his anger and how one day it would get him killed. Thinking to himself that she was right, he carefully uses a knockout gas to keep her asleep for the next few hours. And with none of the other Titans currently in the tower, he finally approaches his true target, the Robin who replaced him after he died, Tim Drake. As Tim Drake is preparing to leave for Gotham, Red Hood appears behind him and says that he was here first. Robin grabs his staff and says that he's heard of the Red Hood, cleaning up Gotham the easy way. Jason removes his helmet, setting it down on a table as he says that he never had it easy. While Tim was going to private school and being taken care of by his father, Jason had lived in the alleyways of Gotham, fighting to survive. Ripping off his shirt, Jason reveals a modified Robin costume under his Red Hood outfit, saying that as Robin he had trained as hard as he could, that he did whatever Bruce told him to, but it wasn't enough. He says that people said he wasn't good enough to be Robin, but that now people say Tim is. Snarling, Jason lunges at Tim, telling him to show him what he has that Jason doesn't. Jason tackles Tim hard enough to burst through the floor of the tower, taking the fight downstairs. Tim lands on his feet and goes on the offensive, throwing smoke bombs which Jason simply ignores, and leaping up at him to attack with his staff, which Jason blocks with his gloves repeatedly, recounting Tim's lead up to becoming Robin. As a kid who saw Batman spiraling into darkness, spending weeks tracking him, and finally uncovering his secret identity, and how Tim must have felt so proud of solving the mystery he forgot who Batman really is. Tim flips away from Jason, who leaps across the room to follow, saying that he knows Bruce Wayne, and that if someone had spent weeks tracking him, he would have known about it. Jason throws a punch at Tim's face, saying that Tim can't be that good, and Tim ducks out of the way and punches Jason in the jaw, saying that he is. In response, Jason kicks Tim in the chest into and through a giant stone planter, saying that Batman must have let Tim find him, and probably gave Tim the exact same Robin speech he did Jason. Jason throws a batarang, which Tim barely manages to deflect with his cape, and then rushes him, grabbing Tim's staff out of his hands and smacking him in the face with it. With Tim kneeling in front of him, Jason says that he'll show Tim what the Joker did to him, and then they'd find out how tough he really was. Jason beats Tim savagely with his own staff, eventually knocking him into the Memorial Hall for statues of fallen Titans over the years. And yes, if you watch the Young Justice animated series, this book is where they got that idea from. Jason gestures to the statues, naming out Aquagirl, Hawk, Dove, even Cole. But where was his statue? Looking up to the statue of Donna Troy, the Titan who initially brought Jason Todd onto the team, and who had died and been resurrected herself in the Titans Young Justice crossover event Graduation Day, which I have covered on a previous episode of Comic History, Jason screams that he was a Titan too, and destroys Donna's statue in rage. Finally getting up, Tim asks Jason what he wants, if his plan is to come here and take back the Robin mantle. Jason says that he would never want that, and that the reason he's mad is that no one remembered or honored him after he died. Coughing up blood, Tim leaps off one of the statues and says that no one could forget Jason, that Tim has spent his entire career under his shadow, and that Batman would never stop blaming himself for what had happened to him. Tim lands on his staff, kneeing Jason in the chin and saying that Batman's guilt is most likely the only thing stopping him from taking Red Hood down in Gotham, but that he wasn't going to hold back, grabbing the staff from Jason and smashing it into his face. Jason skids backwards on the floor and says that that's the Robin he wanted to see, proceeding to beat the living hell out of Tim, smashing him into a wall, kicking him in the back of the head, and then throwing a haymaker right into Tim's face, all the while saying that Batman training children to fight an unstoppable concept is a mistake, and that it didn't surprise anyone when he died, when he failed, and that even though Jason did fail as Robin, he's still beating Tim. As Jason throws the final punch and knocks Tim to the floor, he asks him if he still thinks he's that good of a Robin, and Tim manages to say yes. Jason leans down and rips the R off of Tim's Robin costume, and hits him one last time, knocking him out cold and ending the fight. Robin wakes up much later to Starfire, Donna, Raven, and the other Titans, telling them that Jason Todd was back from the dead and had hunted him down and attacked him. Raven looks up to the Hall of Statues and finds a message in blood stating Jason Todd was here, with a bloody handprint, a message to the Titans that he would not be forgotten. Returning to his bloody campaign in Gotham, Jason admits to himself that Tim is good, and that he has good friends. As he puts back on his Red Hood helmet, he wonders if he had had friends like that when he was Robin, if he had been a Teen Titan from the beginning. Would it have made him a better Robin, or even a better person? And that is where the story wraps up. This is a single issue storyline in Teen Titans number 29 that happens right in the midst of a million things going on with the Titans, Batman, Red Hood, and the DC universe as a whole, so it's often overlooked, but I really enjoy it as an avid Teen Titans and Red Hood fan. Jason's angsty and bitter feelings towards the Titans for forgetting him, while memorializing other characters like Terra, who was a literal villain, along with minor Titans few people even remember, is actually really valid. And I like that while the issue is mainly focused on Jason testing and battling Tim, the larger scope of both characters as Teen Titans is also hit on in a big way. As the comic equivalent of a bottle episode of television, Jason vs. Tim throughout Titan's Tower is a great small-scale character story and touches on some really cool ideas. If you want more context for some of the other events or books mentioned in this video, make sure to check out my Teen Titans Young Justice History playlist, where I've got a ton of great stories like this. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to RNS Entertainment for weekly comic book and film shows, and leave me a comment letting me know who you think the best Robin is. Also, if you'd like to help support my channel and get special videos, commissions, etc., you can do that by supporting our Patreon at patreon.com/RNSentertainment. With YouTube really terrible about ad revenue right now, every bit helps. I want to give a big shout out to Drew Miles for being a $10 patron this month, and I will see you all next time.